Hello to you all and welcome to the first episode of Bat for a Chance's very own shiny new podcast. I'm Georgie Heath, broadcaster, journalist, commentator and, I like to think, host extraordinaire. And I'll be in the driving seat as we explore this phenomenal organisation and chat to some of the incredible people involved in it. So, in a nutshell, Bat for a Chance is a charitable initiative that aims to help underprivileged children experience the joy of cricket. The real spine of the charity is collecting clothing and equipment and dispatching it to schools, clubs and academies all over the world. We collect and source clothing and equipment, both new and high quality second-hand, for dispatch to schools, clubs and academies all over the world. And now, while this is the cornerstone of the charity, it doesn't stop there. Bat for a Chance also funds projects with a view to leaving a lasting impact on underprivileged communities. But we'll get to this. For now, I want to introduce you to the VIP, the bigwig, the MVP, the brains behind the organisation. It's Will Gaffney. So, hello to you, Will, and welcome to episode 1 of your very own Bat for a Chance podcast. Did you imagine it would ever get to this stage?
Not at all, and thank you very much for hosting, Georgie. Massively appreciated from all of us. No, I think as an idea, a slightly crazy one in my teenage bedroom at 14, I never thought I'd be in studios here filming with you, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you were all doing at 14, but I definitely was not thinking up projects like this. I was probably poking people I had a crush on Facebook, wearing too much bronzer and trying to understand how to draw eyeliner. So incredible. Talk us through how this really came about for you and how the idea was born.
It all began for me on a cricket tour out to Sri Lanka. It was there where I had the amazing opportunity to learn what cricket can do for people, how much of a lifeline and hope it can be. I think my favourite memory of that tour was playing cricket against a local village side in the middle of nowhere in Kandy on a coconut mat, being told not to go into the outfield because of snakes and bits and pieces like that. And that's what I really took from the tour. And the thing I remember vividly still to this day from that game is the lack of equipment. And so reflecting on the tour a couple of years later in my bedroom, I somehow mustered up the confidence to send out some emails to tea plantations in Sri Lanka and charitable foundations, originally just pitching this idea, no name, no charity, no brand, no nothing, of collecting kit here in the UK and then distributing it back to Sri Lanka where it all began for me. And it's kind of just been a massive roller coaster ever since that moment and something I love to bits now.
And how did you go about initially collecting the kit?
Initially, I wrote to some village cricket clubs, which were local to me, asking for them to host what we call a collection centre, literally just a black dustbin stickered up with some jazzy branding and saying, we take this, we won't take this. And then they filled the collection hubs throughout the cricketing summer. And then it gets to September, and I have to tell my parents that there's going to be a shed load of cricket kit turning up on your doorstep. And I promise I'm going to get rid of it and it is going to go, but this is something I'm doing and I'm actually serious about.
And they didn't think you just got some sort of shopping, caught the shopping bug and it had got a bit out of hand?
No, I think they were very shocked and surprised, but also very supportive and still to this day, and I'm very grateful for that.
And so initially you were sending stuff just out to Sri Lanka, because that's obviously where the idea was born. How did it then grow from there?
It kind of happened very naturally, I think. Sports is quite a small world. I think anyone who works in sports or operates in sports knows that, and word of mouth flies really quickly. So off the back of that initial shipment back out to Sri Lanka, which I managed to do sort of 6 months later, we started to get people coming and knocking on our door, saying, look, I'm flying to Sierra Leone, I work with the Ugandan cricket team, I live in Nepal, I want to take cricket kit, can you make it happen for me? And that's when I think I had the real sort of light bulb and realisation that actually we're onto something here. Equipment is a massive barrier that prevents so many people from having access to the game we know and love, and most importantly, what the game we know and love does for people, even just at that very basic recreational level. You know, tape ball cricket, that's my favourite kind of cricket, and that's what we want people to have access to. And so it just happened like that, very naturally snowballing, and then I met this magical person called Omar, and Omar's now my chairman, and he basically rang me up one day and said, look, you've got something here, I want to work with you, I want to make it something really special. And he came on board with Bat for a Chance about 2 years ago, when I was 16, 2.5 years ago, just sitting my GCSEs, I remember it really clearly. And we went back to Sri Lanka, had a major landmark moment for the charity where we managed to organise, working together, Kumar Sangakkara, to kind of send this video in.
I mean, that's quite a good name to be able to chuck in.
And that was when the cricketing world was like, oh, hello, Bat for a Chance is here to help kind of thing.
And it's not just about providing kit, it's about changing lives as well, isn't it? So tell me a bit about the fundraising work that's been done and the work with corporates and what else you've been up to in that kind of space.
Massively. So as the charity's grown and grown and grown, we realised we had a platform to do something than just not just provide equipment, but really make a tangible, lasting legacy within the cricketing community. Cricket is this sport that we can use to engage with different communities, but then what can we do beyond that? What can we use cricket, and how can we use cricket to change people's lives at the end of the day and make them better? So we got to the stage in about 2022 where we sat down as a group of trustees and myself and said, look, we're going to make this conscious shift to essentially set up a second arm to the charity. We're always going to have this kit recycling and kit distribution hub and centre, which has grown and grown and grown massively, but we can do more than that. We want to fundraise, we want to fund projects overseas, and we set up what we now call Cricket for Social Good. This is an initiative that we have 2 existing projects for, one in Barbados with the iconic Roland, where we've funded the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club, and the second in Sri Lanka, where it all began for me with the Foundation of Goodness.
And you've got these 2 strains to your charity now. What would you say has been your proudest moment of all of this so far? Because there's still a lot more to come, I'm sure.
Massively. I think the proudest moment I have experienced through the work that we do in particular is a day playing cricket with some Afghan refugees in the UK who we completely kitted out with cricket equipment and clothing. And these are some of their first belongings that they've got in the UK. This is their way of integrating themselves into society and life, finding a cricket club, finding a new home. And I think there's a language barrier there, but you can play cricket together and you can smile and you can laugh. And for me, that's what it's all about, and that's why we do what we do. And I think really paints a picture of how powerful cricket and sport more widely can be. And
could you ever have imagined when you're 14, sat in your bedroom, not playing, I don't know, mini clip, whatever games the young kids are playing these days, that you would get to this stage when you've got 2 strands to your own charity that you've set up and you're working across the globe, you've now got a podcast, and you're really making a difference to so many lives across the world?
No, I mean, it's beyond my wildest expectations and dreams, and every day is a new journey and a new roller coaster, but I love it to bits, and I think we've got such an amazing platform and opportunity to really, really change people's lives through sport and make them more equitable and fairer, providing opportunities that might not otherwise have been had. And so the future's very bright, I'd like to say.
And you know, somewhere the future is very bright is Barbados. And something that is very exciting, especially for a women's cricket nerd like me, is the development of this Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club. And we're lucky enough to be at the London home of the Barbados Royals, so thank you to them for letting us use their studio base too. Well, someone who has been integral to this is a man who needs little to no introduction. He was England's first black cricketer, played internationally for England, and I'm lucky enough to say I've had the honour of commentating alongside him, although maybe he wouldn't call that one an honour, as I talked his ears off, as maybe I'm doing today. But he is the man behind the Barbadian party. It is the legend that is Roland Butcher. Roland, hello and welcome. You join us from much sunnier climes than where we are. How are you?
Georgie, great to see you and great to speak to you. And you were wrong. It was a pleasure working with you in Jersey, in the commentary box. It was a little cold, you may remember, but it was certainly a pleasure working with you.
Yeah, it wasn't quite Barbados when we were armed with blankets, hot water bottles, and multiple cups of tea. But it's a different day. It's a new day, a new dollar. And today we're talking all things Barbados Royals Cricket Club. So let's dive straight on in. How excited were you to get involved with this? And how did you get the ball rolling with the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club?
Well, first of all, it's a very exciting development. A few years ago, I had the pleasure of meeting Omar and Will. And from that, we developed a relationship. 2 years ago, Bat for a Chance funded the Kit Drop project here in Barbados, where we identified 3 female schools. We presented them with the kits. So this project really started over 2 years ago. I'm delighted really what Will and Omar has done to this date, because they have moved the project further forward to the point now where we now have the first ever girls cricket club in Barbados, the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club. And this cricket club really is needed so much, not just in Barbados, but in the region, that I anticipate that this will be of great benefit, not just to the players, but I think to society as a whole in Barbados.
And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't jealous when I saw you all at the launch at the back end of last year. What was it like to be able to finally launch it?
Yeah, it was fantastic. I think obviously a lot of hard work went in on both sides of the globe. Obviously, Will and his team worked extremely hard in England and with the Royals to get it to that point. And here in Barbados, obviously setting it all up, getting the advisory board in place, the coaches, the committees, etc. And to see it all come together just before the West Indies-England game, it was the day before the first game at Kensington Oval, was fantastic. And to see the type of people that actually came to that event, you know, the Minister of Sport, the other ministers, local celebrities, cricketers, international cricketers from overseas, as well as the Caribbean, female, male. It was great to actually see it get launched. And we're bearing the fruits of that now.
Now, I know there's some really big names involved, us included, of course. But there is a certain West Indian cricket captain and one of the best players in the women's game at the moment who's just been announced as a global ambassador. Can you tell us who it is and what it means for the club to have her on board?
Yes, the global ambassador really for the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club is Hayley Matthews. And yes, you know, Hayley Matthews is a well-known cricketer around the world now. Just had the accolade of being the Women's T20 Player of the Year as well internationally. So she's a big name in the women's game. You know, she came through the system here in Barbados, albeit a much more different system than it's going to be now, because when she came through the system, she was actually playing, you know, with the boys. I mean, her father was a very, very good cricketer. And, you know, when he played at weekends, Hayley was always there. She was on the field. Every break, she was there with the boys playing, etc., etc. And then developed at her secondary school where, you know, she played in the first team for her secondary school, boys team. So, you know, she was fortunate to have had that sort of support and to come through. But what we're trying to do now with this project is to encourage girls who perhaps don't get the opportunity to play cricket, to just show them really, and through Hayley's involvement as well, you know, what cricket can do for you and where cricket can take you. I mean, Hayley is a very, very important part of this project because, you know, she knows the background that she has come from. She knows where she has reached. She understands what her involvement can do for these young girls. You know, and it will also help with the problems that we have here in the Caribbean, because most Caribbean families believe that the be-all and end-all is education. And sport comes very, very low on the list. So it's also part of her job to, you know, re-educate. And by being on board, that will happen. Re-educate the parents in the Caribbean that, you know, sport and cricket in particular, you know, is a worthwhile endeavor. It goes hand in hand with education, and the rewards are also very good if you are good enough as well.
Well, you're talking to Will here, who decided that while he was revising for his GCSEs, he would get a charity up and running. So we know exactly what you're talking about, sport working alongside education there. And what does it mean for the people of Barbados to have someone who is such a star in the global game? How much of an inspiration is that to the young girls there?
I mean, that's a huge inspiration. It started with the launch, because Hayley came to the launch, interacted with the girls, and you could really see, you know, how these young girls was looking up to her. You know, she's, as you know, perhaps the best player the West Indies have right now. She's the captain. So really, she has a huge role to play. And, you know, she's willing to play. She recognizes her responsibility as an outstanding female athlete. And, you know, she's prepared to put in the effort to ensure that the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club, which is the first girls cricket club ever in Barbados, is something that, you know, in time she can look back and realize that she has made a real contribution in relation to these young girls and, by extension, to the Caribbean.
And you never know, it could be the first of many. But it's really all about the cricket itself. And excitingly, the sessions launched this week. What's the feedback been like and how's it been going?
Well, it's been going very well. Obviously, schools haven't gone back that long, so it will take a bit of time before we actually get up to the sort of figures that we want to get. But, the girls who have come out, they've really enjoyed it. They've always, at the end of the session, they want to come back the next session. And that's what we're all about at this point in time. It's not purely about the technical aspects of the game. It is about encouraging these young girls to come out, have some fun, be part of a group, and more importantly, to be doing it amongst people that look like you, females. Not in the past would have had to be part of the male situation. And as you know, some girls find that quite daunting and to be in the presence of males. So to be actually in a group with females only, where they can express themselves and enjoy the game, I think so far it's gone extremely well, and we're very, very proud of what's likely to happen in the future.
And it's so exciting for those young girls, I guess, as well, to get to see someone like Hayley performing on the global stage, obviously over in the WPL and then in the WCPL at World Cups and Fair Break and just all over the world as well. I guess she can be that role model. It'll be sort of that, when you're playing in the garden, it's like, today I'm going to be Hayley Matthews. And then you have an argument with your sister, no, I'm going to be Hayley Matthews. And she is that person that they're all going to want to grow up and play like.
And quite right, because listen, everyone needs a role model. There's always somebody that has done something that you look up to and believe, I would like to be like that person. I'm sure Hayley, she's the sort of person that will embrace this challenge. The girls will warm to her because she's that sort of person. And, her exploits also on the field would be a great, great thing for the girls to understand that, as well as being part of a program. If you can perform well and excel, just what can happen. And Hayley is a prime example of what can happen, if you're prepared to put in the hard work and learn as you go along. And you can see what is happening with her, globally right now. She's a global superstar in the female game.
Yeah, it's very much that age-old saying of see it to be it, and that really just sort of sums it all up, doesn't it? They see Hayley Matthews out there performing. She's been there and inspired them, and that's something that they can look to try and grow. But we obviously don't want to keep you all day, Roland, so we will let you get back to your cricketing antics. What's the plan for the rest of the week? Have you still got more sessions coming?
Yes, well, this next session is today. Today is Friday, so we've got a session this evening. And then also, today really is the 11 to 14-year-olds. And then tomorrow, both groups, 6 to 10s and 11 to 14-year-olds tomorrow as well. So Friday and Saturday, 2 busy days.
So you're going to need a good rest and a good dinner before that one, because that sounds hectic.
Well, yes. Plus, I was up at 4 o'clock this morning to watch the cricket, so I'll need some rest for sure.
Live, love cricket. We love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Roland.
Yes, great pleasure to speak to you, and good to see Will as well.
Cheers, Roland.
Take care.
So exciting to chat to Roland about some big names involved in there. But talking of big names, I need to pick your brains as to how you network, because you seem to have absolutely nailed it. Our next guest is yet another global superstar, the current captain of the South African men's side, a man with over 5,000 international runs to his name. How on earth did you slide into Temba Bavuma's DMs and get him on board?
It actually came about through Roland, who we've just been speaking to. He brought one of his agents to one of our summer drinks parties, and upon hearing about Bat for a Chance, he thought Temba Bavuma would be really interested in some of the work that we do. He then spoke to Temba over the phone and managed to set up a Zoom call between the three of us, and we got chatting. Temba's got his own incredible foundation called the Temba Bavuma Foundation, which we were delighted to hear about and work with and support. And we've just announced a partnership with them going forward, providing them with cricket equipment. One of their key goals is providing equipment and access to the game, breaking down that barrier. So it's the perfect fit for the two of us. To be working with a South African icon and legend like him is a pinch me moment. You know, when he's WhatsApping you on a Friday night, you're kind of sat there like, this isn't real. But the most important thing, I think, is the difference that it makes. And in South Africa, we've noticed a real need for a cricket kit with the Temba Bavuma Foundation and also with Gary Curtin's Catch Trust. So it's a fantastic initiative and the first of many kit drops, hopefully.
And am I right in understanding that the MCC Foundation also do quite a lot of work with them, and that's another organisation that you work with? You and I are both young ambassadors for them as well. So it's sort of a really well networked system in providing kit, equipment and opportunities to people all over.
Massively. I'm a big believer that in this space it's all about collaboration, and through working together with people, you can make a bigger impact. And our work with the MCC Foundation is a fantastic example of that, helping their hubs up and down the UK and also their overseas international projects with cricket equipment.
So Temba, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the first episode and you're one of our first guests. Obviously, Will comes first, but we'll let him do that, seeing as he started the whole thing. So I just want to kick things off and know, why did you want to get involved and how did this partnership come about? What was it that inspired you when Will got in touch with you?
Yeah, so initially the contact from Will came about sometime last year, early last year. So we've been, I guess, chatting, communicating to see how we could come together and do something nice here on South African shores. When I came to understand what Will does, I was obviously quite fascinated by the work that they do in terms of giving access to underprivileged kids or kids who don't have easy access to cricket equipment, and just making them being able to live out their passion. Cricket is an expensive sport, especially the equipment, the cricket bats, and not all of us have the resources to be able to fully partake in the sport of cricket. So yeah, when he came to me and said, "Would you like to, I guess, collab and do something here in South Africa?" It made a lot of sense. Quite aligned with what we do as a foundation as well. I think, yeah, the initiative that we did where we handed out equipment to one of the townships here in South Africa, in Cape Town, that was received quite well. The club itself, Kukuletu, they're actually doing quite well in their league. So, it's made things a lot easier for the club, and has also brought a lot more faces to the club in terms of wanting to play cricket.
And could you give us a little bit of a background to the Temba Bavuma Foundation, and also how does it work when you partner up your foundation with Bat for a Chance?
Yeah, so my foundation, the Temba Bavuma Foundation, I founded it in 2016, basically with the view of holistically developing individuals who come from your previously disadvantaged communities through the avenues of sport and education. Simply, we identify talented cricketers. We put them through our schooling system, through our partner schools, generally your traditional cricketing schools. And once we put them in that system, we kind of walk that journey with them. We mentor them. And essentially what we're trying to do, we just want to give them access to many opportunities where they can either succeed on the sporting front, but can also succeed on the academic side. And I think up to date as the foundation, we've got some lovely success stories where we've got individuals who've made it on the cricketing front, guys who've gone on to represent SA under 19 here in South Africa, guys who've gone on to play first class cricket here in South Africa, but also the guys who've gone and succeeded on an academic level who are practicing as CAs. We've got an individual who's finishing off his law degree. So there have been a lot of success stories from that point of view. We also have a social impact element of the foundation where we get involved in various social initiatives. We have about 10 flagship events that we run. And basically these initiatives range from food drives where we, I guess, distribute and feed food within communities. We do blanket and clothing drives, again, distributing those essentials. We also do dignitary drives, and dignitary drives are largely focused on our women, on females. We learned that there are many females who miss school because they don't have access to sanitary pads. And through these sanitary drives that we host, we distribute those sanitary pads. I guess just making it easier for them to deal with the everyday challenges that they deal with. That social initiative has also been massive, where we've been able to impact over 40,000 lives here in South Africa. We also have an infrastructure element of the foundation where we identify areas that need intervention in terms of cricket facilities, whether it's building cricket nets, whether it's refurbishing existing facilities, and that we've done about 4 throughout Gauteng. But yeah, that's essentially the foundation. We try to systemize my development, looking at myself as a young boy who was born in the township. I got the opportunity to attend some of the best schools in South Africa through financial aid. Once I was in that schooling system, I had the right support system or structure that really allowed me to fulfill, or at least have a proper chance at fulfilling my true potential. So yeah, that's what we do as a foundation, mainly focused through Gauteng and Cape Town, but we'd like to be able to nationalize our work and touch a lot more lives.
And obviously, as an established international cricketer, captain, global superstar, what does it mean to you to be able to use your foundation and also Bat for a Chance to really make a difference in people's lives through the sport that you love?
Yeah, it's definitely incredible. I think I'm very grateful and privileged to be able to be in a position where I can positively influence people's lives outside of what I do on the cricketing pitch. I think there's a lot of humility that exists in me in seeing what cricket has done for me, and also what the power that I have to be able to, like I said, positively influence other people's lives. I stay in Johannesburg, and I mean, I guess because of cricket, I live a pretty good life. Whenever I go back to Cape Town, where things kind of started for me back home at Langa, I meet the friends that I grew up with, guys who we played sport with, guys who were probably better than I was, but because they didn't have access to the opportunities that I did, they didn't have the support structure that I did, were not able to realize their true potential, and kind of having a glimpse of the lives that they live brings about a big sense of gratitude from my side. And I think it's with that I kind of feel this strong urge and need to give back, and do the bit that I can for our communities.
And so I also want to know, what are the longer term plans now that you've got a fully established partnership? What's next and what are you looking to achieve?
And one thing is looking at seeing the reaction on the kids' faces when they get a new bat or get a new piece of equipment. You see a sense of hope, a sense of joy in the individual, but also a strengthened sense of motivation for those boys and girls as well. I think it really gives them that feeling that someone is supporting them, someone is for the dream or ambition that they have, and I think that's what all of us really want. You just want people to at least you want to feel like people believe in you. I think, I mean, the work that they do in giving access, to your underprivileged. I mean, that's what we need. We need a lot more organizations, people who can do that. I know it won't necessarily move the needle, but I think it will have a big impact within that small community. communities. Yeah.
Okay, last one for you. Are we going to see you with a Bat for a Chance sticker on your bat anytime soon?
Oh, we can definitely chat about it. There is a sticker at the moment on the back of my bat. But yeah, we can always speak about it. Look, I'm also excited to be doing more stuff with Will, whether it's here in South Africa or maybe it's there in the UK. I think there's more people, especially in South Africa, who need that type of intervention. But yeah, I'll be excited to do a lot more stuff with Will and Bad for a Chance.
Right, well, Temba, I will let you get back to your life as an international superstar. You don't need to chat to me any longer, but thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing what happens in the future with the Temba Bavuma Foundation and Bat for a Chance. Well, pretty damn cool to have someone like that on board, and amazing to get to chat to him and hear about all of that. But I want to know, Will, what is next? What's next for you? What's coming up?
Hopefully some project visits out to Sri Lanka to see some of our work. And also we've got a couple of kit drops lined up for the next couple of months. A big Afghan refugee project with the MOD, which is really exciting and something we're always loving to support, as well as some kit going out to Dominica in the Caribbean, and continuing support of the Barbados Royals Girls Cricket Club.
Well, slowly and surely kitting out the entire cricketing world. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it's been incredible to hear about this on the first episode of the Bat for a Chance podcast. We will be back with another episode very soon, but for now, it's goodbye from me, Georgie Heath.
Thank you very much for listening.
And it's goodbye from Will too. So tune in for the next one.